The area that is now the wilderness was formerly known as Ferrum 3. It was a lush and green land by the time Yelena was discovered by Guthics. Ferrum 3 was very rich in resources, and so a perfect place to build settlements. Xerus, a god who entered Yelena after Guthics entered his sleeping state at the end of the First Age, fully conquered this area during the Second Age. Many settlements were built, whose most powerful were Dariad, Karalinga, Anakal, and Korik. Ferrum 3 formed a very big part of Xerus' mighty empire, which was the most powerful of Yelena at that time, and stretched from northern Ferrum 3, through Asgarnia and Misthaling, to the northeast of Mauritania. Near the end of the Second Age, Xerus' Marjat General Zamorak wanted to overthrow Xerus and was able to collect a group of followers. Those included, but were not limited to, the elder demon Tamarin, the vampire dwarf Draken, the human warrior Vigra, and the Mujahids Marigo and Hazel. When Zamorak got his hands on the staff of the Maidil, he attacked Xerus' palace, and after an intense battle, a large part of Xerus' powers were transferred via the staff to Zamorak, leading to his banishment. After that, Zamorak supposedly disappeared. Years later he returned to Yelena with an army so big that he could conquer the world and declared war against all the other gods, starting the God Wars. During the God Wars, Ferrum 3 was under constant attacks of Zamorak and Saradomin's armies and soon started to crumble. The fortresses were dominated and many of Xerus' remaining followers sided with Zamorak to not be his victims, and soon, the remaining settlements of Ferrum 3 were destroyed with the exception of Korik. In the last years of the war, Saradomin forged a temporary and fragile alliance with the Maidil and Bandos to defeat Zamorak, and in a following battle Zamorak brought destruction on the entire land by causing a massive explosion that swept across the continent, turning it into the cursed wasteland, today known as the wilderness. The massive destruction caused Guthics to awake from his long slumber. Once awoken, Guthics led his army to the scarred land of Ferrum 3 to end the war, which led him to establish the Edicts of Guthics, which banned all gods from ever directly influencing Yelena again. Guthics went deep into the depths of Yelena and wept, saddened by the effects the God Wars had had on the world that he had shaped and loved. The wars ended, but the damage was done. Many races like the Eviantes, Icene, Ergs, and Worms were almost wiped out of existence, and all of Yelena suffered from the effects of the wars, but not one kingdom suffered as heavily as Ferrum 3. Ferrum 3 is today known as the wilderness and is now nothing but a cursed wasteland feared by adventurers. Today, many ruins of the once mighty cities still remain in these lands, barely recognizable as the great cities. They were but rather piles of bricks and spirits of the creatures who died during the God Wars, who were forced to look after the wilderness. They started wandering the wilderness, attacking anything alive they would encounter. These spirits became known as the Regents. During the Fourth Age, there were many attempts to recolonize the wilderness, none known to be particularly successful. There are still many creatures wandering around in the wilderness, like many species of giants and demons. Due to the wilderness being a site of ancient battles, it is also a place where dragons reside. Some outlaws, mostly Zamorakians, have also managed to set up their bases there, like bandits, dark warriors, rogues, and pirates.